Hey, Dalhousie Church, good to talk to you. Really excited to let you guys know about a really exciting opportunity coming up, and that is we're going to be running another Restore You workshop March 6th. This is my good friend Melissa Croker, and she is going to be presenting a Restore You workshop titled Faith and Trauma. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what this is? Because we've had a couple questions. What does faith and trauma mean?
Yeah, so kind of the premise of the workshop, but to actually kick off the workshop itself, what we're going to talk about quite a bit in depth is even what trauma is, because it's really hard to actually loop in kind of like the faith and religious trauma aspect of things if we don't actually know what trauma is.
Sure.
So from there, we're going to talk a little bit looping in something called attachment theory, if anybody's familiar with that term. If not, you'll become familiar with it.
This sounds great.
Yeah, and then we're going to lead right into faith and trauma aspect, talking about religious trauma, talking about things like spiritual bypassing, spiritual abuse, and then purity culture as well, just to kind of give like broad overarching themes.
Good round scope.
Yeah, and obviously it's not like going to be like that comprehensive, but it's just touching on a couple of common areas that people might experience. Talking about kind of like general themes that might be popping up for people, again, talking about more of like the harmful messaging that's associated with some of those things. And also just it's going to be, I hope, engaging enough for people where it's going to be both learning, but also engaging with other people that are part of the workshop as well. So more of that dynamic inclusion aspect of things where we'll do like certain breakout room times. There'll be at least one inventory that I'm doing with people.
Cool.
And so so if it's not necessarily developing like a personal understanding, it's developing an understanding of what other people might be experiencing.
That's awesome. So this workshop is going to be taking on March 6th. It'll happen from 10 to 2. It's going to be kind of a half-day workshop where you're going to go through a couple different pieces like you were mentioning. And then we're going to do something really exciting, and that is we're going to do another bit of a breakout session the following week. That'll happen on Wednesday, March 10th. From 7 till 9 in the evening. And this will kind of be a bit of a bonus piece to the workshop where you're going to make yourself available to do maybe some processing with people as they work through the content that you highlight, or do some Q&A with people, maybe unpack a few next steps for people that are interested. Really just kind of making yourselves available, because with any of these workshops, sometimes we get a lot of the information and then we want to process it for a couple days. So this will be a really exciting opportunity for that too.
Yeah, and especially like you'd said, the idea where especially if we talk about things like trauma and how it relates to our faith and our spirituality, sometimes things hit us like during the moment, sometimes they'll hit us after the fact. And so while it's important that we get the knowledge and understanding of what's happening, it's also really good to actually have some like techniques and skills to learn how to cope with some of those things, or even again, just next steps of how to deal with those things or how to support people who might be dealing with those things.
That is awesome. If you guys want more information about this, there's a bit of a breakdown about what the workshop's going to cover. You can find that on the registration page. We'll include the link for you guys in an email, and we'll get all that information sent out to you. Definitely encourage you guys to participate in the workshop. People have asked me, who does this workshop benefit? And I think the benefit of something like this with faith and trauma is that it can impact anyone. If you want to, maybe you've experienced some trauma inside the church or within your faith and you want to work through it, this is going to be good for you. If you want to work with people that you know that have experienced religious trauma or trauma in the church or trauma in their life, this is good for those people. Maybe that doesn't fit your category, but you just want to learn more about what those terms are and what they mean so that if it crops up in your life or others around you. So this really is for anyone and everyone. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is it safe to say?
I think so. And I think to create space for people, again, that have gone through any number of things that could be, they might experience like within a trauma lens, but then also just even kind of enhancing empathy for other people as well. So empathy for yourself, the fact where it's just like, yeah, you went through something really hard, but then if you haven't ever been through something like this yourself, to say like, oh, I can understand why that person would maybe be believing, thinking, or acting this way. And like, how can I support these people?
That is awesome. So Dalhousie, we definitely encourage you guys to check it out. Hopefully you guys found this helpful and informative. We will catch you guys on Saturday, March 6th from 10 till 2, and we will see you guys then. Thank you so much.